I suggest you to go to the first and second parts first, so you guys can have the full picture of the case. This is part 3 of Celeste murder case, as we got some updates. After thousands of messages, digital records, forensic evidence, and 5 days of disturbing court testimony, a judge has ruled that David must stand trial. Tonight, we're examining the case of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, what prosecutors say happened, what the defense disputes, and what still has to be proven before a jury. Welcome to the podcast, You Can't Unhear. Before we begin, David Anthony Burke has pleaded not guilty. He has not been convicted of killing Celeste. The evidence described in this episode was presented at a preliminary hearing where the judge was deciding whether there was enough probable cause for the case to continue. That is a much lower standard than proof beyond a reasonable doubt. The final decision will belong to a jury after both sides present their complete cases. David Anthony Burke became famous under the stage name D4vd, pronounced David. As a teenager, he began creating music for gaming videos before his song Romantic Homicide became a viral success. Prosecutors say that as Burke's career grew, he was also maintaining a hidden relationship with a much younger girl. Celeste Rivas Hernandez was from Lake Elsinore, California. According to investigators, she met Burke when she was around 11. Prosecutors allege sexual contact began when Celeste was 13 and Burke was 18. They say the relationship continued for nearly 2 years through messages, phone calls, meetings, travel, and repeated attempts by Celeste to leave home. Burke allegedly gave these runaway plans a name: Operation Awesome. Messages presented during the hearing showed conversations about Celeste living with him, getting married, and eventually having children. Other messages indicated that Celeste became pregnant while still 13 and later had an abortion. Because Celeste was a child, her willingness to meet Burke, her emotional attachment to him, or her family's awareness of their contact could not make sexual activity lawful. Celeste's family reportedly knew that she spent time with Burke. Court testimony indicated that she attended outings with him, met members of his family, and travelled with him. Her parents had even signed paperwork allowing her to travel to London. The defense introduced these facts to show that the relationship was not entirely hidden from those around them. But prosecutors emphasized that adult awareness does not change the legal protection given to a child. They also said sheriff's deputies had directly informed Burke that Celeste was underage during an earlier missing person investigation. California law does not generally allow an accused adult to avoid child sex charges by claiming the child lied about their age. By April 2025, the relationship appeared increasingly volatile. Thousands of messages recovered by investigators documented arguments, jealousy, reconciliation, and emotional dependency. On April 22nd, Celeste became angry after seeing Burke connected online to another woman. In a rapid series of messages, she threatened to expose damaging information, contact his family and professional associates, and destroy his career. Some of the messages also contained violent language directed at Burke. The defense highlighted those statements, suggesting that Celeste was the person demanding an in-person meeting, while Burke initially resisted. Prosecutors viewed the same messages very differently. They say Celeste's threats gave Burke a powerful motive. If she exposed the relationship, his reputation, recording career, and income could collapse. The following night, April 23rd, 2025. Burke arranged an Uber ride for Celeste from Lake Elsinore to his Hollywood Hills home. Shortly after 10 o'clock, Celeste sent what prosecutors describe as her final message. She said she was almost there and asked him to open the door. Phone records show she arrived in the area. The Uber driver could not later recall the specific trip, and there was no surviving surveillance footage clearly showing Celeste entering the house. By the time investigators tried to obtain footage from the property, the system had reportedly overwritten the recordings. That absence is important to the defense. No witness saw Celeste enter. No witness saw Burke attack her. And no camera captured the moment prosecutors say the killing occurred. But prosecutors say the digital timeline fills in part of that gap. They allege Celeste arrived shortly after 10 and was killed within approximately 20 minutes. Her phone activity then stopped permanently. Burke continued sending messages to her device afterward, which prosecutors interpret as an attempt to create the appearance that she had never arrived. Phone and Tesla location records later showed Burke's device and vehicle traveling together towards Santa Barbara County. Celeste's identification card was subsequently found along a highway in that region. The prosecution argues those movements were part of an effort to conceal what had happened. The defense points out that digital proximity does not place Burke visibly behind the steering wheel, and that the prosecution still has no eyewitness to the death. The medical examiner concluded that Celeste died from penetrating injuries to her chest and abdomen, and classified the death as a homicide. Because her remains were severely decomposed, the examiner could not determine the exact weapon, the precise depth of every injury, or the order in which the wounds occurred. Either major injury could have caused death within minutes to an hour. The defense argued that this uncertainty weakened the murder charge. They said the medical findings could not prove who inflicted the wounds, when they occurred, or the exact circumstances inside the house. Prosecutors responded that medical uncertainty about the weapon does not erase the wider body of circumstantial evidence. The evidence became stronger, according to prosecutors, when investigators examined Burke's rented home and garage. Forensic testing reportedly identified blood evidence containing Celeste's DNA. Prosecutors also presented records showing purchases of several saws, a shovel, a cadaver-style bag, air fresheners, and a blue inflatable pool. They allege the pool was placed in the garage to contain biological evidence, while Celeste's body was dismembered. Small pieces of blue plastic were reportedly found with her remains, and prosecutors say they were consistent with the damaged pool recovered from the property. The defense noted that some tools tested negative for blood, and that investigators did not recover a confirmed murder weapon. A negative result does not necessarily prove an item was never used, especially if it was cleaned, but it gives the defense room to challenge the prosecution's reconstruction. Celeste's remains remained hidden for nearly 5 months. Prosecutors say Burke moved the Tesla repeatedly, including journeys toward areas associated with waste disposal. Eventually, the vehicle was left in the Hollywood Hills and towed. In September 2025, police found Celeste's decomposed and dismembered remains in bags. She had to be identified using dental records. 2 fingers were missing. Prosecutors allege one of those fingers had carried a tattoo connected to Burke, and argue that its removal was intended to make identification more difficult. Burke was not arrested until April 2026. He was then charged with murder, continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14, and unlawful mutilation of human remains. He pleaded not guilty to every charge. During the 5-day preliminary hearing, the prosecution called 12 witnesses. Detectives walked the court through years of messages, travel records, financial information, search histories, and physical evidence. The defense focused most heavily on the murder count. Burke's lawyers did not make a full self-defense argument, but their questioning suggested several possible directions. They emphasized Celeste's threats, claims that she had previously behaved violently, her insistence on coming to the house, and the absence of a witness who saw the final confrontation. They argued that the available evidence may show concealment or transportation of remains, but does not prove Burke deliberately killed Celeste. The defense also challenged the prosecution's theory of premeditation. They argued Burke had resisted the meeting, was occupied with ordinary activities as Celeste traveled toward him, and had not shown a documented history of homicidal violence toward her. From that perspective, the final encounter could have involved an unexpected confrontation, an accident, self-defense, or circumstances the prosecution cannot reconstruct. The defense is not legally required to prove an alternative explanation. Its task at trial will be to create reasonable doubt about the prosecution's version. Prosecutors argue the events after Celeste's arrival reveal planning and consciousness of guilt. They point to the alleged killing shortly after her threats. They also argue that the alleged sexual abuse provides the motive. If Celeste exposed the relationship, Burke could face prosecution, lose his record contract, and see his public career collapse. Financial records presented in court indicated that his music career had generated roughly $10 to $11 million between 2023 and 2025. For prosecutors, that made the threat to expose him more than a romantic dispute. It was a threat to everything he had built. The judge ultimately ruled that prosecutors had met the preliminary standard. Judge Charlene Olmedo found probable cause for all 3 charges and upheld 3 special circumstance allegations: that Burke killed while lying in wait, that the killing was committed for financial gain, and that Celeste was killed because she was a potential witness to another crime. Those findings make Burke eligible for life without parole, or potentially the death penalty if convicted. The Los Angeles County District Attorney has not yet announced whether capital punishment will be sought. The ruling does not mean the judge found Burke guilty. A preliminary hearing asks whether there is a reasonable probability that a crime occurred and that the defendant committed it. At trial, 12 jurors must unanimously find guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That higher standard will require prosecutors to explain each gap, connect each piece of circumstantial evidence, and persuade jurors that no reasonable alternative fits the facts. The court ordered Burke to remain jailed without bail. His next arraignment is scheduled for August 31st, 2026. A trial could technically begin within 60 days after that, although complex murder cases often take longer. Prosecutors say the preliminary hearing revealed only a small portion of their evidence, and that more significant material will be presented at trial. Much public discussion has focused on Burke's behavior in court. Observers described him as calm, sometimes smiling or speaking quietly with his lawyers, and showing little visible emotion. But courtroom expression doesn't mean much. People react to stress differently. Lawyers often advise defendants to remain composed. The case must be decided through evidence, not through whether a defendant looks the way the public expects. The same caution applies to the defense's portrayal of Celeste. She sent angry messages. She demanded to meet him. She may have lied about her age at different times, but she was still 14. A child's jealousy, threats, attachment, or impulsive behavior cannot erase the responsibility adults have toward minors. The prosecution argues that the emotional intensity seen in her messages was itself part of the damage created by an abusive relationship. The defense is entitled to examine every relevant communication. But a legal defense cannot turn a child into the adult responsible for the situation. At the center of this case is not a celebrity scandal. It is Celeste. Her parents sat through much of the preliminary hearing, leaving during some of the most painful testimony. Their attorney said the family wants justice and was disturbed by suggestions that Celeste should carry blame for what happened to her. What remains unproven is the most important question. Exactly what happened inside that home? Did Burke plan to kill Celeste to silence her, as prosecutors allege? Did an unexpected confrontation occur? Was anyone else present? And can the largely circumstantial evidence prove murder beyond a reasonable doubt? Those questions now belong to the trial. For now, the most responsible conclusion is neither certainty nor dismissal. The evidence is serious. The missing pieces are real. And the defendant remains legally innocent unless a jury decides otherwise. Whatever the verdict, Celeste's story should not become another internet spectacle built around a famous name. It should remain a story about power, age, control, and the responsibility adults carry when a child becomes emotionally dependent on them. Thanks for joining me tonight. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any updates on this case. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe. And I'll see you on the next episode of the podcast, You Can't Unhear.